Ladies and gents, welcome to the EU Gears Pro League. It is week number 6. It is the final week of the summer quarter, and we have still quite a lot to play for as we head into this final week. But joining me, as per usual, will be Alex Frew, and Fruin, I should say. I always call you Alex Frew.
It's
And
fine,
I always
fine.
mix
Even
it.
my mum does, so it
Oh,
happens.
wow. I mean, okay, so that's the excuse completely out the window. Then I can call you what you want at that point. But Alex,
be careful.
Obviously, this week we are heading into the battle for second place. That first spot is pretty much locked in by Rated R, as we will have a look at the standings in just a second. But it's been a very, very entertaining quarter.
It has. I mean, once again, it's coming right down to the wire. Sadly, not for that first place this time around. Rated R, they have been phenomenal. They've locked it in. Look at the round difference. It speaks for itself, right? Plus 25 and still a match to go. But yeah, that battle between Elevate and Oxygen, that's still going. That's still raging. And these guys, both of them will want that second place finish going into the major.
Yeah, and very different games for either one of these teams this week, though. Of course, Oxygen are going to be taking on Team Sick first and foremost, and Elevate must win against Rated R. I actually got the win conditions here because it is very, very close between these two teams. So basically, if Elevate win, they are second no matter what, but they have to beat Rated R, who are undefeated so far this season, but we know they have it in their locker. If Elevate lose and Oxygen win, then Oxygen will be second. And what it comes down to is round difference against each other. And at this moment in time, this will not change, obviously, as these two teams don't have to play each other. Oxygen pip Elevate by 1 round on that front in terms of statistics. So had Elevate, won one round different, obviously that swings in the other direction. So Elevate really have it all to do still with the harder game. We absolutely expect Oxygen to beat Team Sick. But let's have a look at some of the standings, some of the player stats from throughout the Pro League, and let's figure out who's been a big reason as to why maybe Rated R at the top, or whether it's going to give us an indication to which way this second place battle is going to go through.
Yeah, I mean, it's changed ever so slightly since last week. We see Crimson's coming in there on the left-hand side for that top KDA spot. He took over from where Ashen's left off last week, and we said it was going to be close between those two guys. It was indeed Crimson's that had the better week, and now is on top of the leaderboard. Dragon's still sitting pretty, though, at the top of 3 of those statistics, and Crimson's, again, lowest deaths still in his name. It's pretty much all Elevate, all Rated R here, and it might change slightly today, but I think this is maybe how it's going to finish too.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see how it works in terms of the actual standings. But yeah, Crimson's has been really good for Elevate, and I sort of think it pays testament to how he's been playing, especially considering Elevate probably had the worst Pro League season so far, I would say, in terms of their placements right now. Of course, still just fighting for second, and you would expect them to be a team up there at the top, but Rated R very much spearheaded by Dragons, and of course, a couple of others. Let's not get it twisted. Highest eliminations, all 3 from Rated R. Dragons, Pains, and Marsh at the top 3 there is really a standout for me. But we're interested to see how the second place battle goes. As said, though, that first place is locked in by Rated R, but they still have influence on the rest of the Pro League. However, we will talk about that second game then, and we will talk about this game now. It is going to be Oxygen against Team Sick. Let's have a look at how things went last time round between these two teams, and what was a very, very convincing win once again for Oxygen. 5-1 Exhibit, 5-2 Icebound. I'm expecting much the same. I said this last week for Team Sick when they went up against Rated R. I was expecting a pretty convincing win for Rated R. In the end, they did force a map number 3, but I don't know if they'll be able to do it against Oxygen this week. I think they will have their tails up. They know they need to win, and they aren't going to let this happen easily for Team Sick.
Yeah, I think that's it, right? It means quite a lot here for Oxygen to beat Team Sick, and knowing how they performed last time against them, I think they understand that they have this in the bag. They've just got to perform as well as they have been doing for the last 5 weeks. I mean, we look at the stats there. Ashen's on a 9.0 across that map. He's just been amazing throughout the whole of the Pro League. And this match was one of the better matches for him, for sure. But it really did showcase just how good this player is. And the rest of his team as well. All of them, 4 5s across the board. Fractures on a 2.74 would have been leading the league last season, sorry. So it's actually a really, really good showing from all 5 players there. On the other side, though, we have to look at those KDAs, all under 1.0, not really firing for each other. The eliminations really aren't at par. We expect 20, 30 really from Pro League players, and to see them down at 10, they have to change that round. They have to be able to slay out against these really high-skill players on the Oxygen roster. It's going to be tricky for sure, but they did it last week against Rated R, so if they can bring something from last week, maybe it's that, and maybe they can, make this a little bit of a closer game.
Maybe I had a look at some of the stats from last week as well, and everyone as a team played fantastically on Asylum. I'm interested to see if we're going to see that. But let's talk about Team Sick, and let's talk about their biggest problems right now, because I will reiterate it for anybody who hasn't been here throughout the rest of the season. They're very much a squad that we wanted to give time to. By this point, we wanted to think to ourselves, okay, things are getting better. Last week was maybe the indication that they are, but still, after the last two maps, you wonder whether Asylum was just a bit of a fluke, or maybe, Rated R were underestimating them. I'm not too sure. But this team have underperformed for me to a certain degree. Yes, we expected them to come in as the fourth best team, but they really haven't put up much of a fight whatsoever.
Yeah, and I think this is the matchup that really seals that, right? I mean, they have done okay against Rated R last week, but the week before they got stomped by Elevate. The week before that, they lost against Rated R again in a very convincing fashion. For me, this is their closest opponent. Oxygen was supposed to be that third place team, right? They were supposed to come in, they were supposed to hover behind Elevate and Rated R, but they've upset the system a little bit here. They've gone beyond our expectations, some would say, as well as Elevate kind of falling down a little bit. So for Team Sick to come in and now challenge what is actually a top 2 team, not a top 3 team, it's a very, very difficult ask. So I think, yes, on one hand, Team Sick definitely underperforming, would like to have done better, but their opposition across the board has been a lot stronger than the likes of Obey had to face.
Now, looking at Oxygen, though, they're very much a team who've overachieved in comparison to what we thought they would do. When you think of this team at the beginning of the season, we questioned the changes, but the changes have really been a big reason as to why they've come on through. Yes, okay, the players, the core three of that roster did fantastic. However, when we're talking about the players they brought in, we're talking about players like Ashens. How good has he been for Oxygen so far? He's been phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, the numbers speak for itself. We saw it in that stats, right? 9.0 KDA, and that's not the first time he's been closing in on those double-digit KDAs. He has been so good, and much better than he was on Obey, and he was one of the better players on that roster as well. So he has absolutely been let loose on this Oxygen roster, and it's really good to see. And I want to actually touch on skills a little bit as well, because he's a player that we've not really given too much of the limelight to in this Pro League. But that's because he was a bit of an unknown coming into it. Yes, he was a good challenger player. Yes, he was in rosters kind of fluctuating around probably the top 8 mark, but he wasn't really on my radar as a player that would be able to challenge top 2 in Europe. He has come in and proven himself, and he has not looked, any form really behind the rest of his teammates, his counterparts. And I think for that, coming straight fresh into the Pro League and performing that well, we have to give credit where it's due there as well.
100%. I think he's been consistent, hasn't he? He's not necessarily been at the tippity top of the team, but he has been in and around. He's been performing relatively well, and that's all they could have asked for in his first season. And he is a big reason as to why this team find themselves where they are. But let's have a look at the picks and bans. And this is going to interest me because we've seen a big pull coming out of Team Sick last week, which is Asylum, and Oxygen choosing not to go anywhere near that. They're happy for them to pick it. The first ban came out from Oxygen, which was District. Then Bunker was gone by Team Sick. Exhibit instantly locked in from Oxygen. They feel comfortable on that map. And then we will see Icebound, both teams choosing to get rid of Asgard, and Training Grounds. So Icebound and Exhibit is what we've seen last time round these two teams did play, and it was a 2-0 fairly convincing win, of course, for Oxygen. However, Team Sick this time around have got Asylum first to maybe force Oxygen to have to beat them in 3, not just 2.
That's it. I mean, these are the exact same maps that were in the cycle last time. I'll put it there. It's the same 3 maps, just a different order. We saw, last time we had Exhibit first, Icebound second, and then Asylum third. So, yes, bringing that Asylum pick in first, I think is a good idea by Team Sick because, yes, they performed on it well last week for sure. They look like a really practiced team on that map. So I like that. I think that's a really good choice. Not banning Exhibit out for me is a mistake. They haven't looked good on Exhibit for a long time. Bunker, I don't think it's that worthy of a ban. Oxygen are not really a massive, massively good Bunker team. Yeah. They're good at it for sure, but they're not hugely, they're not Rated R good at it, Elevate good at it. So I think that's a bit of a wasted ban there. So I would have liked to see the Exhibit ban first and then see what happened after that. But I think all in all, out of this pick and ban phase, Team Sick have got what they wanted, and that was Asylum.
Yeah, it had to be, really, didn't it? I mean, that was the best we've seen them play all season long. It was a very, very good win for them against Rated R, of all people who really had looked unbeatable at times, especially when you've seen their previous games against Team Sick. However, yes, they got the win, but it didn't get the win of the series. But this is definitely the best they looked was on Asylum. So I'm interested to see how they look against Oxygen. Of course, a very, very different team who I think will have looked at last week's game and prepared for it. I think they'll be ready for what Team Sick were doing, which was basically Notorious having a very good game. I mean, they just had a good slaying game in general, didn't they? They rotated around nicely as well. They just controlled the map well. But let's talk about the two players that we do believe have to have good games this week. And the two that we've selected out are Rita and Cougars. Specifically, Rita had a really bad time with things last week, as did Cougars, obviously in completely different matchups. But Rita is somebody who we expected to maybe do a little bit better in this team, whereas Cougars has always consistently been very good, but just didn't perform against Elevate last week.
Yeah, that's it, right? I mean, week in, week out, players have good, they have bad weeks, but consistency really is key in Gears of War. And actually, as well, the bottom line is also something that I'm actually quite often saying to players is that, yes, you're not always going to perform at your best, but what you need to make sure is that your bottom game, your worst game, is still of a good quality, right? And that's a really difficult thing to train. So for me, Rita hasn't really done that. He has really good games and he has really poor games.
Mm-hmm.
For me, it's exactly that. Has to show up there today, has to have a good game if he's anywhere near beating Oxygen. For Cougars, you know, his terrible game is actually pretty decent still. It's not the best, but it's not the worst by far. And I think, yeah, if he steps it up, level of his team around him as well, they should be having a pretty easy game today, and they should be able to walk out of here with a 2-0 under their belt.
You would think so. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't a 2-0 to Oxygen here. They know the job they have to do. They know they're technically in a better spot than Elevate, I would say. You know, the thing is for Oxygen, they just have to beat Team Sick. Elevate have to raise their level again and beat Rated R, which of course will be our second game of the night coming up straight after this as well. And just another thing to mention, we do actually have the Nasher Clash finals coming after this as well. So if you guys want to stick around for that, feel free. Excited to see the finals of that one. We did have to postpone it ever so slightly, but it's just lined up nicely with the Pro League night, so you guys get a technical third game will come after, of course, the 2 Pro League games. So we're excited for that either way. But Team Sick versus Oxygen is what's coming up now. I was going to ask you a prediction, but you've sort of already touched on it. The fact that, you know, Oxygen should win this one fairly comfortably. Asylum is a bit of a question mark, I will say, but Asylum then Exhibit afterwards. You would have to say Oxygen should be able to get this done in 2, but even if it goes to a third, you'd feel confident for them. Unless Team Sick have just found another level, but I think we're maybe reaching a touch too far. Oxygen will be looking for that second place spot, and eyes will be on that Elevate game against Rated R. And that will really be where their bread is buttered, so to speak. We do expect them to win this game. But can Team Sick cause maybe a little bit of an upset here and stop Oxygen on their path to second place? Asylum is where we're going to kick things off. As said, Team Sick did very well against Rated R on this map last week, winning it 5-2. Can they do the same thing here, going up against Oxygen?
Definitely a different opponent. I think if Oxygen have done their homework this week, Chris, they'll know that this railway fight, this track fight, was actually a fight that Rated R were winning quite often. And it was only when it went up towards the E-Hill, over towards the top side of the map, that they really did start to come into their own, did Team Sick. So if Oxygen really want to put the pressure on, they should do it on the tracks. They should make sure that the weapons get placed down this end of the map, and they should try and fight in the open down here.
Shots coming in from Physics here. Trying his best to help his team out, but he's in a bit of a bad spot as Oxygen managed to win the fights in the middle. B will go in their favor. There's 4 members dead from Team Sick. Notorious, the last one alive up top bridge, is going to have to run for his life. Play the time. He does now have Rita up his company, but we can see Oxygen are just backing off now. They don't want to necessarily throw everything at this C push. They just want to maybe work on these kills together. They are going to find Notorious. Zorkos and Co commanding up top bridge, and Team Sick are turtling up already.
Yeah, that death from Notorious actually starts to worry me already, Chris, because what he did there, knowing that he had 2 players in front of him so close, you know, distance closing is very, very fast on Gears 5. We all know that. And he just turned around with his Lancer out, lost full vision, wasn't paying attention, just trying to get a few hits on someone that was never going to change the state of play in Physics, trying to get through that middle. So it really was a bit of a miscalculation play there, I think, from Notorious, and he's paid for it with his life. That said, though, his team behind him are doing really, really well on this home hill fight. Without Fractures making a bit of a play of it, they'd have actually had 2 home hills here. Fractures now looking for his third. Will get taken out by Jay Rage, but Jay now in a 1v1 against Skills. Skills has to win this fight, actually. The domination was ticking for a few seconds. Cougar's done well on his 1v1, so has Skills, and it will be an elimination, it looks like. But that was a very, very close game. Close round there for Team Sick, actually. They threaten that domination for a few seconds.
They threatened it. But I think, Oxygen were always there and was always looking fairly convincing for them. But Team Sick not too bad, I suppose, coming off the respawn. However, Oxygen with the good initials really helping them out throughout the rest of the round. So 1-0 to Oxygen now. We want to kick on. Smoke Grenade's going to go down. I'd expect it is at least mirrored or something similar over towards the gallery side for Team Sick. But of course, these grenades help them with this initial in the middle. Not something to turn your nose up at.
No, definitely not. And they'll be looking to upgrade those into those incendiaries next round. That's pretty much where these grenades come into their own. You can use them on the track fight. You can rotate them around towards that top bridge fight. They're really useful tools. We are going to have a quick pause, though, a technical pause, as we do see a disconnect on the Swarm side of things. But yeah, I expect those incendiaries to come on through next round, and we'll see them used. We'll see them kind of brought through that middle section, thrown up over the top onto the bridge, and just trying to force open plays there. You can use it to get control of the cave. You can use it to force plays up top. They're really versatile grenades and really, really useful.
Now, the teams are supposed to stay in the spawn. Fractures is threatening to capture, but will not. Of course, we are just waiting on one player getting back in for Team Sick. I'm just having a look, and it just seems to be Red9. Yeah, okay. Sorry, I was getting confused. I was I read Reader as Red9. I'm like, is it Reader? No, that Red9. Waiting on him getting back into the game. But it's definitely a more difficult task for Elevate this week, isn't it? It's definitely looking at the game against Rated R. Rated R may have locked in first, but there's no way they want to give anything to Elevate. There's not a chance. The only thing that might make me think that Elevate could have an advantage with Rated R already being in that first place and already locked in, Rated R might try some different maps against them that they wouldn't usually. Don't maybe want to give away some of their better maps or some of their strats on their better maps.
I think that's a really good point, because we have got that, that world major coming up, essentially, that European major. In just a couple of weeks, and one of the things that we've kind of criticized teams on before is having that auto ban. So yeah, this is a really good position really for Rated R to try what they want to try, go into some different maps, perhaps move away from that exhibit pick that they so frequently picked against Elevate, and then move on to something that's maybe a little bit different. Maybe we do see your Vazgars coming in. Maybe we see an Asylum as well. We've not seen those two teams beef it out on Asylum for a long, long time. So yeah, we might see that. I have to say, though, I think Rated R really are very, very good on every single map, so I don't think the map choice will matter too much.
They are pretty decent.
I think bragging rights is also something that is really on the line. To finish a season completely undefeated, that's really, really good for Rated R. That'll be a huge confidence boost going into that major. And actually, on the other side as well, for Elevate, to be able to say, actually, well, we went 1-1 with the team that won the Pro League this time around, just like they did last season, except they got the win at the major. It's one of those things where 1-1 going into the major that's a nice little split, because you go into that grand final thinking, well, we're even. Let's see what happens. So yeah, it's definitely a confidence kind of thing, a mentality thing as well.
I'll just let you guys at home know that Red9 is on his way. Just disconnection at his location, unfortunately, but we will get things up and running as soon as we can. Of course, everyone's going to have to get back in their positions, which I don't know if they're going to be able to get in the exact spots here through. It's something that annoys me greatly every single week when they do it. That's besides the point, though. Still,
I'm with you on that one.
Yeah.
I wish I had a button. I could just teleport everyone back to their spots.
Get back in your spot, man. Come on.
I don't understand it. I mean, there is, I suppose, one part of it is actually, you've warmed up for an hour. You don't want to then spend, 10, 15 minutes waiting for a player to reconnect and then, cooling down again and, going in basically fresh into this first round. But to be honest, they're the caliber where 10 minutes shouldn't really, 5 minutes shouldn't really bother them too much.
It shouldn't.
And actually, fatigue is also a thing they got to be careful about. But in the end, players be players. They just like to bounce, and that's a gear play for you.
Players be players. Correct. Well, hopefully we'll get sorted into this one very, very shortly.
Physics getting them all into line. Yep,
Ordering them.
There. You stand there. Back up, back up.
Ordering them in position. Hopefully we are able to get straight back into this one. Pretty sharpish, that is the dream.
They're swapping weapons.
I'm just swapping skins.
I think they swap weapon skins. A bit of a trade going on as they're loading in. Oh, it looks like Physics heading back to the spawn now, so hopefully we'll get Red9 in just a few seconds and things will kick off again.
That's wonderful. Always connection issues.
Rather now than later in the game, though. I kind of feel like...
Rather it just be now and not later in the game as well.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Well, hopefully we should be ready to go very, very shortly. Just waiting on the teams getting back into position. Getting a time on the board, and then we will say go. I mean, Zorkos is... I mean, we're literally going to have to wait on you getting all the way back to your own spawn now, Zorkos.
I'm very confused.
I'm very confused as well.
Very confused.
Right, okay, so Red9's in, so now Zorkos, you're going to have to go back. What are we waiting on?
I think he's checking that they're on the right place. Oh, he's getting his Lancer back. He wanted his Lancer back.
Oh, he's running away with it. Hilarious. I mean, why did you drop it anyway?
Enough. Come on, guys, get back in spawn. Get back in spawn.
Deary me.
As fun as this is, we want to see some action.
Is it fun? Is it fun, Fru?
It's fun for Zorkos. It's fun for Physics, but...
Oh, dearie me.
Anyway.
Are we
here
good?
We go.
Are we good now?
Into it. I think so. There we go. We're off.
And just like that, once again, we are off. See which way this one goes, but we can see the players getting a hold of their home hills, and it's been a 3-2 split, if you like. Rita and Kodo setting themselves up towards B. Let me just drop back a little bit here. A bit of a stalemate towards the train tracks. Neither team wanting to make the first move. This flash coming out, or the smoke coming out, actually should be the thing that makes a difference. So as Kuka starts moving forward, does have Rita in front of him, and he is being peppered up. A flash will force him back as well.
Got to be careful for these trains coming in. I do like the use of the smoke grenade there. That's not something you usually see, and they're just trying to block line of sight whilst making a push up, making a play up, isolate Reader out as he's pushed up onto that middle bag, but a good defensive flashbang came in. Now Eddie pushing across top. This is Ashen's first, those of you not in the know. Has got teammates by his side. Skills. We'll try and get some kills, but nothing's come through just yet. Nice kills by Notorious, that's 2. And they should be able to push over and get these home hills here. I'm liking what I'm seeing from Team Sick. That's the 3rd kill on the board for Notorious, and maybe he's starting to feel himself a little bit. Cougar's trying to make a play on the other side of things. Red9 shuts him down. Good defensive there. Fractures out in no man's land. He's going to get taken down, and this should be a Team Sick round. If Skills can't do anything about it, he could try and get the touch, but he doesn't have any team behind him, and that's a really, really nice round for Team Sick. Really, really well done. Good defense, and then flipped the offense and really did take everything from that.
Very, very nicely done, in all honesty. No complaints here. Team Sick with a nice round on Asylum, something they've become accustomed to doing. They were really good against Rated R last week on this map. Really, really good. Just annoys me. Like, I said it, and I was like, this is probably one of the first times we've ever seen them, like last week, I should say, actually get it through. And when they did get it through, they were excellent at it. So maybe it was being blocked out. Maybe they just didn't fancy it. But it's a map that they're clearly pretty decent on. So back towards the tracks we go once again, after a very, very long extended round. This time round, though, not necessarily so much sitting back as Rita is going to get blown to smithereens. The Incend coming over, and he's sent to the grave. A fiery one at that. And now suddenly it is Oxygen with the advantage over here now. J-Ridge was dropped just a second ago. Kugas has pushed up, could do with trying to find something, but the rest of the team coming in to back him up, and they will be able to get a hold of B here, Oxygen. And they're looking to impose their will up top here as well. Zorkos waiting for some support to come through. Fractures may flank round behind. Red9 pushing through. He's going to get dropped. Eddie is here to help as well. It's really well played by Oxygen. Can they find the second fight to Red9? It's the bait and switch between them. And now 3 men converging over towards C. Looking for the domination here, Oxygen.
Should be able to find something as well. The pincers coming in from Cougars. That's really nice. Finds the kill on the roll. Gets the second. Looking for the third. Gets the down. And oh my god, Cougars. That was beautiful. They should be able to translate this into another round here. If not for a rogue attempt here coming in by Red9, he's going to get shut down as well. B-Hill, that's shut down. And it's all about this home hill fight. J-Rage, last man in, way too late. It's going to be an Oxygen round.
It's that third kill from Cougars. That's so impressive. The first two, you come around behind. It's great positioning, don't get me wrong. But the third, he just turns around, flicks his Nasher directly into the chest, and hits one of the nicest spreads you are likely to see. Very, very nicely done. Cougars now putting his team up 2-1. A big moment there in the end of that round is what found themselves with that advantage. But here we go now as the round does develop. There's incense already in the previous, and now we're going to have flashbangs posted either side on A and C. Oh, at the home spawn, if you like. Let's see what they're going to develop into. I'd imagine they're going to be shocks specifically for the second half, of course. That fight up top towards Bridge is heavily influenced by the utility grenades that are on offer. But once again, we go over towards this B fight alongside the tracks.
Yeah, I'd be very, very surprised if they were not shocks. This looks to be a very on-meta setup from both teams. And we did say, actually, last week we would like to see that big weapon come down once the flip comes over. We start to see that second half. But we'll see if these teams do decide to do that later on. Often we do see those loadouts coming into play in the second half of things. Notorious trying to make a bit of a push up here. Will get flashed out. Throws his own flash backwards a little bit here. Still one in pocket. Cougars gets a kill down the other side of things with that incendiary. Eddie trying to get a little bit of damage down that middle. Will be able to find a couple of shots here before Notorious punches back on up. 1v1. Second flash goes out. Going to move down towards the B hill though, as it looks like it's the Cougar show once again. Great Lancer fire coming in. They should be able to get that down. If not for a few bullets into the wall. There's a kill coming through. And up top, we've also got a push.
Seems like they're really being pinned in here, but if they can come out swinging, they'll be in a good spot to try and take over the round. A now has been decapped. Is there anybody there from Team Sick to stop this one going on? Cougars is going to go down, as is Zorkos. So good fighting from Team Sick, and Skills is in a bad spot as well. Hasn't been able to put the shots down. Here comes the push though, and Team Sick aren't going to be able to keep a hold of A and find 3 kills for it. So if you have physics, you get a hold of B as well. Suddenly Team Sick well and truly back into this round. Oxygen looking to get maybe a little bit too aggressive there, and they get caught out. Team Sick very well defended. But once again, Oxygen looking to have a go at it. The numbers are here for Team Sick as well, though, but Cougars will find the first kill this time, crucially. Fractures is going to go down, but Zorkos and Cougars here to try and lock this one in. Shot's going to go in well from Zorkos. Notorious is going to be buttered up, as is the other player pushing in. That's going to be Physics. Cougars sends himself forward. He's went straight past Notorious, who's put the bullets into Zorkos. And all of a sudden, Notorious is able to clean up not 1, but 2. And the push coming in here from Team Sick on the other side of things. Very, very well played by Team Sick. Good defensive work.
Very, very nice indeed. Notorious having to back off a little bit here as they find a nice setup. They are going to get the win in 60 seconds, but you got to think Oxygen will find a break at some point. Looks to be the B hill that they're going to be pushing on now. You can see Eddie moving on up. He's going to be the first one in. Going to get crushed in the side. Will go down. Should get cleaned up as well. Incendiary in hand. Will be there in case that revive attempts come through. And the B hill does get decapped. That turns it over to a Cogwing condition. But with these kills going in the favor of Team Sick, you'd expect this domination to come on through. 4 seconds. There's nothing at the home hill. They've got to push forward, do Oxygen, and they've been caught off guard a little bit. It's just Skills remaining. He's going to get headshot. The Swarm will still win in 30 seconds. Cougar's the last one alive. I think this is going to be a Team Sick round coming through. Oxygen will not respawn. Oxygen will not pass go. And they will not go up 3-1 at the half. It's 2-2, and we are tied even going into the second half of things. Chris, who'd have thought that?
I just can't believe you didn't go fully with the you will not collect $200 either. I mean, that's just... It was lined up perfectly for you.
It was, but that's in the major, isn't it? They collect all the money then. So we'll save that one for a few weeks.
I mean, you get money for finishing where you do in the pro... Okay, all right.
To Team Sick?
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. But either way, a really nice round from Team Sick. There was a couple of occasions where Oxygen could have closed that one out, and they will be disappointed they didn't. However, Team Sick just slay out when they need to. Nicely done. I'm curious to have a look at the stats on Team Sick's side of things to see if they are slaying away here. Notorious having a good game. You know, just everybody sort of pulling their weight at this point. I think there's one player on the other side of things for Oxygen, though, only managed to pick up 1 kill so far. Eddie 1 kill, 3 assists, 5 deaths. Not what we're usually seeing from him this season.
Definitely not. Good shot grenade coming out, though. Should be able to get the clean up here if his team are shooting for him. Incendiary is wasted, though. I don't really like that usage there. That was a kill that could have come in just purely from the Lancers. Perhaps they were going for that double kill on the revive attempt, but in the end, I actually think that Incendiary would have been better placed on this low cover to force Reader off. Reverse coming in. Lots of things going on there. It looks like Incendiary's picking up kills left, right, and center.
Yep, Notorious finds 3 kills up top, one of them being his teammate.
Gonna be back to a stalemate.
Here comes the fight, though. Red9 and Co, can they hold on? Skills is going to find the first one in for Oxygen, but Red9 just posts up and fires away from the hip. Nicely done. He will belong to Team Sick, who really are making Asylum their home. Has to be said. It's been very, very good. It's been the best gears from them by some distance that we've seen, isn't it? I mean, they're not even close to being this good at any of the other maps, and I want to understand why. I don't know if it's just maybe a case of being able to play this map better, but it's even just the slaying front. They seem so much better.
I think my theory on that is that the other teams have been slowly phasing this map out. And I think that was because Obey were pretty decent at it, actually. And the other teams, they often got caught out by Obey on it. And it seems that, you know, over the past, well, 3 quarters, 4 quarters now, actually, we've seen Asylum go from the most picked map by a long, long way to not being picked at all this quarter until Team Sick picked it. So perhaps these teams are a little bit rusty on it. Perhaps they didn't really expect to be playing it too much. And as such, they're not quite as practiced. Whereas I think that is more a case of us seeing 2 reasonably practiced teams on this map than it is 1 reasonably practiced and 1 very practiced.
Shot's going to go in from Skills, trying his best up close and personal with the Lancer, but here comes a big push from Oxygen. And unfortunately for Team Sick, they're going to be forced out. The Incend is there just to clean them up. Cougar's going to find that. Eddie will push in with Fractures, and they will find a lot of kills up top. If they can keep going, this is a bad spot for Team Sick to be in. Red9 should be dead very, very shortly, but he's going to find it down on Eddie and the kill on Eddie. They should be able to clean this up from Cougars. And Reader has overextended over towards D. Zorkos, close the windows there, mate. That's a little bit windy, but eventually will find Reader. D is on the horizon for them as well. They will manage to pick that one up, but Notorious and the team have done enough defensive work over towards F, but they're still going to need to get something in the middle here.
They are indeed. Notorious trying to make that happen, isn't he? See the shot grenade's going to come down. Notorious will go down himself as well. In that alcove, Eddie going to get the finish there. Still, though, for all the members of Oxygen that are up here, they're being delayed a little bit by that shot grenade. J-Rage pushing back a little bit here, letting his team filter in behind him. They're going to die for it, though. It's a beautiful headshot from Eddie. Perfectly placed shot here, looking for his second. Miss here. But in the end, it is going to be Oxygen winning that team fight. They will come through. 1 more remaining, a 3v1 situation. That's not good for Red9 whatsoever. Eddie going to get caught out, though. Oh, there's Notorious behind the pillar. Gets 1, gets 2. Looking for the 3rd now. Trying to bait it out. It is not going to happen, though, because it's going to be a COG victory.
Notorious padding the stats there. I respect it. I respect it. 3 minutes and 36 seconds. We're not seeing the easy Oxygen victory we somewhat predicted. Yes, they are finding themselves in the lead here, but Team Sick are well and truly in this game. Here come the picks, though. Do these shot grenades get cut in half? Yes, they do. This fight towards 8 is going to be very, very important. Although I say that, you know, these initials coming in, I say they're important, but very much E is changed hands quite a lot, isn't it? All throughout the whole round, it does so often go backwards and forwards. Cougar's trying to get some spots going on over towards D. It is a simple 3-2 split. We can see Team Sick have been the aggressors, though. Oxygen sitting back, lancering away. They're going to do their best to do that. The shot comes through and everybody dropping. You got to ask the question, if you are Team Sick, if you've got something to throw back, and you do, Notorious is going to find 2 kills there with the Incend. Flash is now coming out. Really good shots though onto Fractures, who pushed a little bit too far. He's chasing down Zorkos as well, trying to find the shots where he can. That was the opportunity right there, but he gets another bite of the cherry, and Zorkos will go down. Nicely done by Notorious, who finds 4 kills up top for Team Sick, and they should be able to lock in E here.
Should be able to indeed. I see Notorious go down though. Good Lancer fire coming in. Skills got 2 downs as well. Really nice. Flashbang's going to come out now. Good push forward, but Fractures is going to shut Notorious down very, very quickly. Eddie, he's on a bit of a rampage, isn't he? Pushing forwards here. We'll get that kill in the end. We'll get the meat shield. Oxygen now looking to put the pressure on the D hill. I think if your team's sick, you go towards the E at this point. It could be so difficult to get this hill back against that meat shield, against a full setup Oxygen roster. They're doing well, though. They're doing their best. Skills has found the flank, and this is going to be disgusting if he gets these shots off. Oh, this is nice from Oxygen. I like the play. They're going to get the hill in the end as well, and it's going to be 4-2.
So aggressive. You'd love to see that out of them. Very, very nicely done. And it was at the point where that round just turned on its head. Notorious finds 4 kills up top, but they can't lock it in quick enough. They try to lock it in as the Lancers start coming in off the respawn. Oxygen are posted up and admin just laying down the fire, and they just keep rolling. Just can't get anybody up if your team's sick. And Oxygen suddenly are 1 round away. Whereas that could have been a very, very different story. Team Sick were in a good spot to try and win that round. 4-2 now to Oxygen. This one went quite close. Each round has had opportunities from both two teams. Incense cut in half now, so these are going to be a bit more influential. And we've seen Notorious do mixed work with them. But when he's landed them well and found a couple. So can he continue to have a bit of luck with these Incense? He's going to need to keep his team in this game.
Looking at things from Fracture's point of view. He's just going to rotate around towards the E hill, and this is what we were saying about Team Sick. They seem to have real good success on this side of the map last time around. This time around, though, Oxygen, they're doing pretty well. They seem to be fighting this up top fight actually really quite solidly. The last 2 rounds been pretty much testament to that. Just a lot of crossing back and forth, and basically players just trying to find an opening, aren't they? There's the Incendiary coming out. Skills very, very weak. 8% health. We'll be able to back out just in time, though. Good movement from him. Shot Grenade's going to come out from both teams, and this will just delay things ever so slightly.
Eddie putting shots in where he can. Will back on down as the aggression comes through from Team Sick. Notorious now going to take bullets and will go down, and that's going to be in the incense. That's going to come flying now, but that's some good shots coming out of Rita. Finds Eddie, but will be traded out. Skills should be able to clean this one up as well. Zorkos is in the corner of the door. He's going to go down. The fight continues. Physics backs off. Skills is coming. Oh, and you don't want your Lancer out there. Skills will take advantage of that, but E still not really with anybody right now. Oxygen are going to lose pretty much everybody here, but so did Team Sick. Nobody able to grab a hold of it yet, but Team 6 seem to just about have the numbers, but the shot grenade's going to come through. Eddie will down 1. Fractures will clean up that kill onto Red 9 as well. Cougars finds it down, but Fractures drops 2. Neither team able to really grab a hold here. All these utility grenades are just slowing down the process on both sides of things, but here comes the pushes. Fracture's going to be able to make a little bit of magic happen. Pushing forward, the shot's surely going to go into Red 9 at the back, but he's just going to back on down. He's going to be captured, but look at D. It's overextension coming through, and that's Physics. He's decapped that, so you will just deter some resources maybe away from that midpoint, or will he? Cougars finds 1. Finds a second as well, and well, finds his teammate. Skills has been sent into oblivion. But really well played by Cougars outside of the team kill that came through, and Rita will go down as well. Oxygen eventually getting some sort of cover in the middle.
Yeah, that's it, and it's just ever so slightly pipped the lead that Team Sick had here. We can see a 10-point advantage here on the side of Oxygen. New shot grenades, new incense going to be back up here, going to be rotated around. There's one incense going out, there's a second, and look at everyone burning up. Nice placement here from Oxygen. Good shot grenade coming out as well. That's going to delay. I think thrown ever so slightly too early in my opinion, but in the end, the hill is ticking in Oxygen's favor whilst these shot grenades are up, and Team Sick also wasted theirs, so it's a bit of a bad trade for both teams, but in the end, Oxygen do profit from that quite heavily. Just 18 seconds on the go now. Actually, they can give up this E hill and fall back. They've got to be careful not to die here, because if they lose their home hill as well, that's really the important hill they've got to look out for. Looks like they're going to fight for this E hill, though. They're doing really, really well. Yep. Skills, Eddie combining. They've got 3. They've got the ring as well. Zorkos on his home hill is going to clean up that kill, and this should be another Oxygen round. It should indeed be the map, as they do win 5 for 2, and a nice showing in the end from Oxygen.
Very nice. A couple of shaky moments here and there, but Oxygen get it done within 7, and that will be comfortable enough for them to give them a decent amount of confidence heading into map number 2. Team Sick, it's once again back to the drawing board. Not too bad though. There was a couple of rounds in that one, wasn't there? You have to say that it could have went a couple of different directions. Namely, the previous round where Oxygen went 4-2 up. They had a decent setup. They had a few members down, just couldn't lock in E quick enough. And maybe that's a bit of a swingy round. Suddenly it's 3-3 instead of your 4-2 down. It's very much a different story. But there you go. It is going to be Oxygen 1-0 up now. This is what they need to do. They need to win their game. They don't need to win it by any particular amount. It goes down to their difference in rounds against Elevate. Of course, it was 1-for-1 over the season, but Oxygen just about edge it on round difference between these two teams. So as long as Oxygen win, Elevate must go on to win against Rated R. They're one map away from nearly securing that second place spot in, but they will not know until the end of tonight's show. So far, so good though for Oxygen. Honestly, we're heading over to Exhibit as well, which we know they are very, very good on. It was a pretty convincing win against Team Sick. Last time around, these two did play this map, so I would expect it to probably go the same way through.
Yeah, last time, it was a pretty convincing win. And actually, we got to look as well at last week. Team Sick, they did play Exhibit against Rated R. Rated R slapped them about a bit. It was a 5-1 scoreline, just like they do to everyone on Exhibit. But I do think that they did not look good on Exhibit. And this worries me as the second map, to be honest with you. It really does worry me.
Yeah, it can. In all honesty, I don't know what the options are here for Team Sick at this moment in time. Like, what is my suggestions to them to try and help them? And honestly, I really don't know. Maybe when it comes to the major, we'll see how they do there. There's going to be a lot of teams vying for them as well. That a lot of teams outside of the Pro League will be looking at Team Sick and thinking, right, we could take these 100%. It was a close run through the qualification side of things as well. I'm mainly looking at Breaker's team, their former Obey squad for the most part, doing decent amount of work on the outside of things. Ladders, etc., are looking very, very good for them. So we'll see how they do come the major. Of course, that is coming very, very shortly. We've seen the details were announced throughout the last week or so. So you will be joining us on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday this time round. And we're excited to see that open side of things. I'm looking forward to that, to seeing what sort of competition we got down there.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of good teams, and I think you're totally right. Breakers lot absolutely will be gunning for that fourth space. And, one good game against Team Sick or one good game against the likes of Oxygen and Elevate, you can see yourself in a top 2, top 3 position. So absolutely, any challenger team looking to come through that open bracket, whether, you're practiced or not, should have a really good chance of doing well because, quite honestly, outside the Pro League, it's very much an open field apart from that winning team of Breaker and Co. So it's going to be a very interesting one for sure. And getting to see some more gears on the Friday, an extra day. Who wouldn't want that?
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to have these 3-day events, of course, but you have to be careful. If you got work on the Friday, you're gonna have to get it off. You're gonna have to get it off, lads, if you want to try and get yourself in.
Don't you worry.
Oh no, I hope yours is. I'll be a little bit disappointed
the
if it's not.
Of the people.
I'm gonna have to draft Elliot in if you haven't managed to get Fridays off. But
I think it's booked off. I should check that tomorrow.
Yeah, you should probably check. But we're excited to see what's going to happen, obviously, in the major. But we still do have the small matter of deciding who comes second in this league. Rated R have locked in that first place, that first seed as well for the major. So who is going to be joining them at the top? We'll find out very, very shortly. We're nearly ready to go into game number 2 on Exhibit. And we, as said, only seeing this going one way in the favor of Oxygen right now. I wonder what you guys in the chat are saying. I actually haven't had the stream up. That's absolutely despicable from me.
Oh, terrible.
We'll get it up. I'm being a bad employee here, but we'll have a look at the stream and see what you guys are saying. I know the skins on offer today, so about 1,000 viewers in here as well. So make sure you are joining in and making sure you do get a hold of your skins. But please let me know who you think is going to go on to win this game. It's looking as if Oxygen should be able to take it. And I think you'd be hard-pressed to bet against them on this map, has to be said. I hope everyone has been keeping an eye on Oxygen throughout this whole season because they really have been impressing me. And I don't want to say they've fallen off towards the end of the season, but defeats to Rated R and Elevate 2 weeks off the bounce were probably disappointing, to be fair. But they know that they can still lock in second place, but it is ultimately out of their hands.
Yeah. I think that's, you see these 4-team leagues and you kind of expect that your placement will be somewhat dictated by other teams' results because they have to play every other team, right? And every other team has to play each other too. So there is going to be upsets. And like Oxygen beating Elevate, I don't think Rated R would have seen that coming. I actually think they would have expected to be fighting for first this week in this next game. So to have that locked in last week due to a result that 2 of the teams kind of threw up, it definitely happens. It definitely benefits and actually negatively impacts some teams as well.
Yeah, it can do. It can do. I mean, I would have liked to see a battle for first. Don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed that last time round when it came down to
Yeah.
literally a single round or something like that, which was entertaining but stressful trying to figure it out during the broadcast,
Oh yeah.
amongst other things. Obviously, this one's a little bit more clean cut. Just remind you guys at home, if you were not here at the beginning of the game, Elevate win. They are second no matter what. So they have to beat Rated R. If they do beat Rated R, they are second. It doesn't matter. If Elevate lose, though, and Oxygen win, Oxygen will finish second. This is basically come down to round difference. Now, it did slightly change, of course, since last season. They will have the same amount of points if Elevate do go on to lose. And then it goes to round difference between the two teams, where Oxygen have that by 1 round. And that's how close it would be if obviously Elevate go on to lose and Oxygen go on to win. We're expecting Oxygen to win 2-0 here. It doesn't matter in terms of maps. It comes down to if Elevate can go on to win against Rated R, and they can do it in any fashion. It could be 6-5 Rated R, 6-5, 6-5 Elevate. It doesn't matter. If Elevate win their game, they will finish second. And Elevate really been on a bit of an ascendancy, haven't they? After the first couple of weeks, I think that probably gave them the shake that they needed. Now they find themselves in a spot where they can still finish second, which they will probably still be disappointed by. But as said, on the other flip side, you look at Rated R, they will absolutely want to be prove a point and giving themselves that maybe a little bit of an edge over Elevate heading into the finals, obviously, for the season. But at the same time, we're sort of wondering how much Rated R are going to give to Elevate. What are they going to give in terms of the matchup between themselves? Do they concentrate on finishing 6-0, or do they think to themselves, right, what maps do we want to give over towards Elevate? What do we want to show here before the big major?
Yeah, it's a big question, isn't it? Actually, what we're going to see from this next game, and I think if you're Elevate, I think you go out to win. You play your best maps. You put your good foot forward, and you try and upset Rated R. I think that is honestly the best strategy for them, rather than trying to practice some different maps. Maybe try and get them on Asylum and see how that one goes as well. And then you know that you're probably going to force an Asylum ban out of Rated R in the major as well. So there's definitely a few mind games that could go on here. But for me, Elevate, they absolutely should go and try and upset this flawless season. Sorry, for Rated R. And they should really try and get in their heads a little bit here. And that would be, for me, my key goal is don't let Rated R go into that major thinking they're on top of the world. Let them know that they're equals to you. Let them know they're on the same pedestal, right? And they're not at the top of the mountain yet. Rated R, on the other hand, yeah, they're going to go out and try and win this. But I think for them, it's more just of a confidence boost going in, right?
Absolutely. But this is how the series has gone so far. Asylum 5-2 to Oxygen will give them confidence to do this within 2. Exhibit is coming up next as well. And we know how well they've been playing on this map as of recent. And, well, maybe how bad Team Sick have looked on this map at times has to be said. I feel as if I've really battered Team Sick throughout this season, but I think it's just they are the outlier. Everyone else is sort of in and around the same sort of skill level at this moment in time. Team Sick are a little way behind, and it has showed. However, can they get something done here? I say, Oxygen looking pretty good on the Exhibit. It's only 1 in 3. I'd imagine they played this against Rated R twice, though. Or something stupid like that.
Yeah. They're definitely playing against the top teams, aren't they? Well, they're going to get their opportunity to try and even out that record at least here. Team Sick. Even though Oxygen's record wasn't perfect, it was still better than Team 6 on this one. Notorious trying to get the opening frag, but look at this. Beautiful play by Eddie. Comes through, gets 2. He's going to be off to the races here as Physics now in a bad spot. Good Nash shot. Good trigger discipline. Good weapon discipline there by Eddie. Now looking for his 4th. Isn't going to be able to get it. His former teammate J Rage is going to take him out there.
He'll be furious, J Rage. Didn't let him get a hold of that. But now J Rage will be furious that the rest of his team are all dead. As Kugas pushes round, he will back on down just to make sure they can secure these kills. Skills though will go down, and the rest of the team here from Team Sick will be able to keep a hold of it. Raider and Cup will have another bite at this round. 80 points, and still leading for Oxygen to the 36 of Team Sick, but that one is about to change very, very quickly.
It is indeed. B-Hill going to get locked in here. Physics will get taken out by Fractures, though. Nice kill coming in from him. Flashbang wasted really from Red9, just trying to get himself out of trouble, I guess, to help push on this corridor, but Notorious didn't really need the help there, and Red9, he's given up a little bit of room for this mid-cap to come in. The B will go the way of Oxygen once again. Notorious fluffs his first shot, doesn't fluff his second. That's a nice finish there. And kills have been traded back and forth. Nice bait and switch there for Red9 to now go in. We're trying to find the kill here. Both players baiting each other out. Both wanting full control of this aquarium area. Will go the way of what looks to be Team Sick here, as they have that numbers advantage on the start. Red9 finds one here, and this might be the opening for something, as he's looking for his second. Is he going to get caught out, though? There is someone on that balcony, on that little cover piece there on the left-hand side of things. So between their legs, they have to go back. Things will reset.
Fractures Hunter back on down there. He was down twice by J-Rage. But still, Team Sick doing good work here. They may well be behind, but not for very long. The win condition belongs to them as well. Cougars in a bad spot here as well for Oxygen. Will be able to back down, and Skills keeps moving on forward as well. Diz does drop Red9, but then the revive comes through. Reader around behind as well should be able to clean this up just about. He's going to find the kill on the Zorkos. This is a nice overextension. Is there anybody even around C or another one of the hills here for Oxygen? It's looking unlikely, and it's looking like this round is going to go in the favor of Team Sick to kick things off here on Exhibit. 1-0 now, 2 minutes and 30 seconds gone, and they managed to get the win after a bad start to the round.
Yeah, it really was a bad start, and honestly, if you're Oxygen, you're going to be kicking yourself a little bit for that one. You should really have won that round off. What was a fantastic opening from Eddie. They just really didn't have any follow-up, and that kind of concerns me a little bit, because this is one of the easier maps, in my opinion, actually, to try and force that triple cap on, because there's so many good covers for the attacking team to kind of take and hold, and there's so much open space for the defending team off spawn to try and get through. It's a very, very difficult one to kind of retake on. So, yeah, interesting to see. Good work by Team Sick for sure, and they find their first lead in this competition.
Can they do anything with this lead, though? See if they can do the same thing again. As I said, though, it was a good start by Oxygen, and just really Team Sick fighting back well. Notorious and Co trying to make the battle down here go in their favor. Team Sick, though, making the push through, and it is going to be Cougars and Co getting it done for Oxygen, I should say. Oh, more kills rain in their way. And ultimately, it came down to this push last time round. Did not work out for Oxygen. Can Reader defend it well once again? He has to back on down. He has many, many men chasing him. He's being put into a corner and put in his place, if you like, and this round is going to very, very quickly go over towards Oxygen. 1-1 now. That is a fast, fast round.
It was. That's exactly what should have happened in the first round, shouldn't it? We see that domination coming through, kills coming through, Oxygen playing it really, really nicely. Not letting anyone come back off spawn. The smoke grenade's now got to get placed down. We're going to see an identical placement. We are indeed going to see an identical placement. We sometimes see teams opt to upgrade early, get that incend off the bat, but both teams playing it very, very similar this time around, going for 2 sets of utility grade instead.
There's plenty of utility down for both these two teams, as so often we do see on this map, and these flashes really can be important in these small, narrow corridor fights. Can be about just using them as well as you can, then gaining a little bit of ground as Notorious is doing here. Skills will have to back on down. But it is Team Sick who have used these flashes maybe just a little bit better, which has allowed them a little bit of control down low and allowed them to get a hold of B.
Yeah, that usage on the flashbang really is so, so important in this map. Similar to Asylum, actually. That's another map that really just get opened up by some fantastically placed flashbangs, and you see it here as well as teams are trying to open up plays for their teammates. Good work by Notorious to count the numbers through there and find this flank. Problem is his teammates dying perhaps a little bit too easy. Didn't give him the time to do the work that he needed to. Now Notorious 4v1 situation. Can he do anything about it? I think he's just going to back off and try and hold the corridor. It's not a bad situation to be in, but he's going to get pushed in the end. Good Lancer Fire coming in from Oxygen. I like that. They found the kill when they had it free.
Eddie, though, in advanced position, will have to back on down. Don't think Oxygen will be wanting to give too much away here. They probably felt like they gave that first round away just a little bit by being too aggressive. Eddie will back down, and will need some help over here pretty quickly, as there's plenty of players flying on through. Turns and burns onto Red9, though, and J-Rage, I should say, is not going to be able to push forward himself now. Red9 a little bit too aggressive, but well played by Eddie. That's a nice flash out of J-Rage, though. Can he find the first kill? He cannot. Fractures. Closes his eyes. Flash doesn't affect him. J-Rage will then go down. Reader having a fight on his home hill here as well, as he continues to push, but the angles coming in here from Oxygen are solid. C will go back over towards Oxygen. That's their home hill, and 8 is all that Team Sick have left.
Team's going to start to retake a little bit here. Second flashes coming in from Notorious. We'll try and open up this play here for Physics, but the first flash hasn't really done too much. The second has done quite a lot here as 2 kills go the way of Team Sick. Looking for a third. Skills is going to get the team kill, but it will be Physics that cleans up in the end. And this is really, really nice play from Team Sick there. Going to get hold of that B hill. They're going to push forward now towards the C hill. Fracture's making a bit of a noob roll out into the open. Will get taken out as well. And Team Sick now trying to get the second round on the board. Have to deal with Zorkos flying in from spawn.
Kugas finds all
so
3.
far.
Oh, that's so well played by Kugas, but the rest of the team were there to help out, but Kugas ultimately is the one that finds the 3 kills to help them defend. Now what's the play if you're Oxygen? Cog team win condition is there. You need to do something pretty quickly, though. Kugas is making the push over the top, but where are the rest of Oxygen? J-Rage is there to deal with Fractures in the middle. This should be around over towards Team Sick. And you wonder if Oxygen could have maybe done a little bit more there. 2-1 now to Team Sick. Find themselves in the lead again.
Indeed. Good round from Team Sick. J-Rage topping the table up there as well. Good to see him putting in a good performance here on the last week of this summer quarter. Expect those upgrades to come on through now. Those incendiary grenades will probably get placed on these kind of placements here. It's going to be the incendiary at least for Team Sick as predicted. And then on the opposite side, are we going to see something similar? It is going to be the mirror match.
Not too surprising. Let's see if Oxygen can get themselves a lead in this game. It has been hard to come by. Team Sick, though, are just doing the right things. They're moving back when they need to. They're finding the kills when they need to. Kuga's now in a bit of a bad spot, and it just really isn't going Oxygen's way down low. They are losing out on a lot of these fights. Red9 is going to get taken down, though. Notorious is there to answer back, and Notorious is a player you would expect just to do a lot of damage down here. And he so often does, but he is sent back to the respawn queue, courtesy of a well-placed incend. Team Sick, though, trying to get back into this round as Oxygen are about to assume some sort of control.
I see Fractures trying to hold off a push here. Gonna have to back off. Doesn't have any support from his team. Nice angle, though. Forcing Team Sick to keep their heads down a little bit here. And if one player can keep 2 players subdued like this, that means somewhere else on the map that there is an advantage for Oxygen opening up. Problem is, they haven't seemed to find it. As we can see, actually, teammates Kugas having to run all the way back here. Basically holding Fracture's hand to make sure he doesn't go down too quickly. Good kills coming in, though, for Eddie and Skills on the other side of things. Physics, Red9, both fall. Now a 3v2 situation here. Oxygen should be able to make good of it if they can land their shots, and Fractures, he's done nothing but miss in that situation, opening up a play for J-Rage. Really good play from Jay. Now Jay getting a bit too greedy. Will get taken out himself. Notorious down as well, and Trade comes through. Physics opting for that meat shield. Will get a bit of damage down and will allow his teammates to catch up, and Red9 picks up that kill there on Skills, so things really back and forth. But as all this is happening, all this action is going on, we do see Oxygen gaining a 70-point lead because no one has found that decap on the B hill.
Yep, Red9 is now down and out from the rest of the round as well. So that does put Team Sick in a bit of a bad spot, and surely will be heading in to the half at 2 apiece. Red9 maybe a little bit over-aggressive with his lives throughout this game. Kuga's going to get a nice down there as well on the Physics, and it's well played by Oxygen. They will get themselves back into this one. I think it just sort of shows Red9, you look at the rest of the team, yes, okay, Notorious and Reader are close, but Red9's been out for about 30 seconds or so now, and you would like him to maybe be playing his life a little bit better. You look at the other side of things, Oxygen are down, but on the Slayton standpoint, they've got so many respawns remaining right now. It's not going to matter too much after this round, of course, but it's putting them in a good position to win this and tie it up at the half. It will do 2 apiece now. And maybe if you're Red9, just play your life a little bit better on a couple of occasions, and you're in a much better spot, although I say that he is the one on 170 ping, in fairness.
Yep, yeah, that's very true. That is very true indeed. You've got to be careful of your lives no matter the ping. I think that's even more of a reason to be careful, right? If you're
not wrong.
not having the best of connection days, I think you might have to be a little bit more cautious in your play. But in the end, doesn't really matter. That's up to the players to decide how they play. We're just here to commentate on what they do. And in the end, he lost all his lives. He got taken out, and he did really cost his team a bit of a round that they had the opportunity to win. The fights were going back and forth. It was just a couple of little bits of cleanup that were needed, and a little bit of an earlier decap on that E-hill.
Jerry's going to be put in a bad spot. Good cover fire from Cougars. Nicely done. Runs the wrong direction, and oh, a few Cougars here. Nasher cleans up from the distance. And he will find the kill on Notorious, and this is a much better opening from Oxygen, of course. At this half on Exhibit specifically, we don't change anything around in terms of where the points are. Of course, they do change to D, E, and F respectively. Cougars though with the flash out. Is it going to cause enough problems to Physics? Not quite, as he is going to be caught out on Fractures now. Has some defensive work to do down this side.
Does indeed. That French duo of Reader and Physics combining, trying to get a couple of kills. We'll get one more as Skills falls as well, and that should be the B-hill going their way. Physics got to be careful here not to give his life up once again. J-Rage going to get the B-hill. Notorious in a 1v1 at the opposite side as well, and we actually do have someone from Team Sick upstairs as well, making the push towards that F-hill. So an assault on both the middle and the opposing team's home hill is going on here, and it's actually Reader who's found that flank. Bit of a 1v1, going to get taken out by his ex-teammate in Zorkos. And balance really gets restored.
It does, as Team Sick now find themselves in a controlling position. Oxygen now looking for a route through, but if you're Notorious here, you don't have to push. You can wait. But Red 9's going to go down, so suddenly it's a 4v5 in favor of Oxygen. Do they make the push? Not quite. Reader will get a hold of these incense as well, which should help Team Sick try and defend, but Zorkos has got a free route through, and running through the fires and the flames, Zeal will manage to escape as well. Reader's here to back it up, but the damage is already done. Oxygen with that win condition of 70 seconds, although I can imagine these hills are going to change hands before the end of this round.
I think you might be right here. I think you might be right. Team Sick, they've got to do it, haven't they? They've got to push forward. You can just be careful not to lose too many lives in this push as well. Notorious first half, sorry. First round of the second half is actually what I'm trying to say. And we've got Red 9 and Notorious both down on 2. I don't know where I was going with that one, but yeah, both down on 2 lives already. And it's very, very early doors in the second half, and it's even as well, so a long time to play yet.
Zorkos and Kaguga's coming in the middle. Physics is going to go down as well, as is Red 9, who's already down to 1. Notorious is going to have to do some defensive work as well. Incense up for him, and he has overextended, and he will be able to get a hold of F, and it looks like he's going to be able to get out as well, so well played Notorious. Maybe developing into that Esky player that we know he can do. We've seen him do bits in the Nasher Clash, don't get us wrong. And we will see that final tonight as well. It's himself and Crimson's going up against Jackfex and Hydro. That will be after the Elevate Rated R game, so we'll see how that one goes. But Reader and Co looking to try and get back into this round. Right now, Oxygen can do it on a 1 cap. They are going to be able to get a hold of F here, and this is all sort of stemmed from looking like a easy enough round to Oxygen. So now Team Sick being in a position where they can do something about this here. Red 9 could do with winning this fight over towards the F side. The shot's not quite there though, and Eddie will punish him for it. Oxygen will eventually get the round, but Team Sick made it hard work. 3-2 now. First lead of the game for Oxygen.
Yeah, a nice turnaround there at the half. We have to look at Cougars. We called him out as one of those players to watch there. He really has been tremendous on this map so far. I love what he's doing on the opening plays down bottom as well. I didn't touch on it the round before, but it was a really smart play. He's conditioned the other team to expect that flashbang from the first half down into the side corridors. So what he does now is he fake throws it. The team, you know, the opposition sat on that cover. They dive away anyway because they're expecting to get flashed, right? They're expecting this flash to come through. Actually, what he does, he doesn't fully throw the flashbang. He puts it back in his pocket, pushes with the Nasher, and actually catches his opponent off guard, off feet, and without a gun in hand. So it's really, really nice play by Cougars. And it's that kind of adaptation, you know, mid-map that I like to see from these players. They're really starting to push the game a little bit, trying to second-guess opponents, trying to fool opponents, and, you know, using less resources while they do it as well is always good.
Team Sick. 3 rounds here to manage to walk away as winners of Exhibit and force a map number 3. As he said, it's been some really good plays out of Oxygen to find themselves back in the lead here. Some good shots by Cougars as well, but he's in half weak. Will back on down. Some more good shots. Notorious goes down. Is J-Ridge going to follow? Not quite. Eventually he will, but Cougars falls in the midst of it. Fractures will clean that up, and once again, Oxygen have nearly a free route through the middle to get a hold of E. Nicely done. And once again, it's worth noting, Red9 on 2 respawns, as is Notorious. Red9 yet to go down in this round, but Notorious already seen the respawn queue. That's why they find themselves on so low lives. And that might play a part towards the end of this game. Maybe not this round, but if Oxygen can find a long, drawn-out round here, Team Sick could be in a bad spot in terms of lives. J-Ridge just joined them on 2 as well. Looking on the other side of things, 3s and 4s across the board for Oxygen. They're looking healthy.
Indeed. What you'd want at this point in the time. All those 4s. Onto fire. A little bit windy there from Notorious. I'd like to land more shots. Skills trying to do some work here. Gets 1 down, gets 2 down. He's doing so well. He's come back though, and that's the problem sometimes with these younger players. They don't know when to just quit, to back off, to realize that actually I've done the work I needed to do, and that was to delay them to not die. This time around, Skills, he gets 2 downs, 3v1, and ends up diving into a Nasher to seal his fate. And now look at the opposition. They've got full control over this Hollows corridor. There's going to have to be a fight up here. A last-ditch attempt, really, from Oxygen to do anything. And Eddie, he's going to get 1. Can he get 2? He'll get taken out. There is a player in the back as well. Skills coming back in now. And in the end, they turn it around Oxygen, but it was a big old fight to get there.
I have no idea how Eddie found that kill, in all honesty. He shouldn't have been able to. I think it was physics just made it a little bit easy, and Skills well played against Red9. Straight off the respawn. He's now going to be down to 0 as well, and we're only in the 5th round. Really not working out for the team so far. Physics now going to go down. Skills is having a little bit of fun here on Exhibit. Picks up his 10th kill. Only sitting at maybe in and around a 1.9 right now, but a really, really good play out of Skills. Red9, I said, in the danger zone now. If he dies, he's not going to be in the rest of the round, and his team are behind as well. Notorious, not many lives left under his name either. The Insane coming through. J-Rage and Red9 doing well, though. Maybe something's going to be coming up this one. Team Sick have to get going. A 1-cap is going to do... Oh, no, sorry, it won't do it. Oxygen should be able to lock this in, sorry, with a 1-cap, with D. Notorious and Co. Not quite good enough at this moment in time. 4-2 now to Oxygen. Cruising through Exhibit eventually.
Yep, it's that second half once again, isn't it? It was close at the halfway point, as it was in Asylum, but Oxygen, they just seem to find new life at that halfway mark. They seem to be able to just kind of figure the opposition out a little bit, and I'm starting to wonder if that is those, you know, those mid-game adaptations that I'm seeing from the likes of Cougars that are really helping turn the tide a little bit here, because they'll be happening across the board, and if Oxygen are putting more of those into play, would kind of make sense as to why, especially in a map like this where nothing really changes at the half. Oxygen are starting to find a little bit of wind coming into the second period, but we'll see. Drop shot's going to go down. That's going to change things up almightily. And whoever gets that in their hand really will be in the driving seat for the remainder of the round. It's so influential on this map.
And sorry, it's going to get in for the drop. Just goes for it. Will be dropped immediately. The smoke's coming through. I like the strat out of Team Sick. They're actually going to get out with that as well. Notorious will get away. Keep an eye on these layers as if J-Rage is now going to push forward. Does he know there's a couple of members there? I don't know if he does. Notorious is being dropped once again, though, and he is the glass cannon, if you like, for Team Sick. He will now get a hold of that drop shot.
As well.
Yeah, he was down very, very low. He's being killed again.
Taken out.
Yeah.
Yep. That's poor play. That really is poor play by Notorious and Co. They should have extracted him out of there. They should have given him the support he needed to get that drop shot out. And you know what? Better yet, drop that drop shot on the floor. Let your teammate pick it up. Get yourself out with that weapon. It doesn't matter if you die in the end, because you're going to die anyway, it seems. May as well get the weapon out. Give your teammates a chance of fighting for this E-hill.
Shots in by Zorkos. Oxygen trying to lock this one in. Red9 down to 0 respawns. Notorious and J-Rage not far behind him. Reda's going to make this push as well. Red9 is going to be there to try and trade. Does manage to trade. Finds the kill and the revive. So good play by him. Skills is going to find Physics though. Can he keep on going? Skills has had a good map so far. Red9 though. Very, very much doesn't need to be in this middle of the map. It's not where you want them. Oh my god, there you go. They've locked him down. Cougars finds Red9 with a fantastically well-placed incent. They get a hold of E. Notorious down to 0 respawns as well. If you're Team Sick, you're fighting the rest of the round here with only 4 members. Notorious and Court, though, are going to have to make a push. They're going to have to try and do something. It's a 60-second win condition for Oxygen.
It is indeed, and that drop shot's going to be coming back up shortly as well, so they've got to remember about that one up top. I think at this point, if you're Oxygen, you can probably just leave it. And honestly, if you see Team Sick go up top, you're going to have at least a 5v3. You'll be able to push for that advantage, and actually it looks like they're going to be able to do it just here. They're going to get the kills. J-Rage, only one surviving at this point in time.
Yep. Notorious gone, Rita gone, J-Rage gone. Oh, sorry, Red9 gone. It's Rita and Physics now. The last 2 pillars of Team 6 standing in the Pro League. The summer quarter is coming to an end for them, and it has been one to forget. Although, it could be something to remember if these 2 managed to do this, but that one was short-lived. And that will be it. Oxygen have done their job. A 2-0 win over Team Sick, and now they await the winners of Elevate against Rated R to see where they will finish in the summer quarter. But a job well done, 5-2, 5-2 on Asylum and Exhibit. As said, though, Team Sick will go through the summer quarter completely winless.
It's unfortunate to say, isn't it, if you are a Team Sick fan, but in the end, they weren't at the races, and there's definitely improvement to be made before that summer major. I think that's the thing. They can only go up from here, right? They've got to look back at the last 6 weeks, and they've got to figure out what's going wrong. And honestly, I think if they do that, if they take some serious time, they have the skill in their ranks to be able to perform at a better level, to be able to, challenge some of these top teams. But until that point, until they take it seriously enough and start to make these improvements, they are going to be the bottom of the barrel for the Pro League. And for Oxygen, it's going to be another easy win for them as they come through another flawless week, another 2-0. It's looking real good for the Oxygen camp.
It is. It's a 2-0 we expected, but a solid performance nonetheless, and they will get it done. And now Elevate needs to beat Rated R to lock in that second place. If they do not, it will be Oxygen's heading into that finals, obviously, in a couple of weeks' time. But we do, as I said, still have that game coming up. It is going to be Rated R taking on Elevate. I'm sure it's going to be a cracker. Do not go anywhere.